I've got 25 pages left. I don't think I can cope with that. I've got far too many questions to be answered in 25 pages. Hello Tandem fandom, it's Jenny here, and I am super excited because today I am bringing you a read-along vlog. So I spied the orange sticker and I'm taking part in a read-along this month. It's the first of the Claire McGowan books that we are reading as a sort of read-along marathon. And I'm going to take you along with my journey. So we're going to start off today with the unboxing, and then every day you're going to get a check-in from me. I'm going to tell you about my thoughts on the day's pages. I'm going to answer the day's questions. Sorry if you can hear the seagulls in the background. It's a sunny day, windows are open. So I'm going to tell you all about my thoughts on the pages. I'm going to answer the questions. By the magic of editing, you'll possibly see some of the challenges that have been created as well. Just been joined by my cat. She's not taking part in the read along. She is just a paid actor. So let's get started with the unboxing. Try and get into the end below. So we have got the book Let Me In by Claire McGowan. And inside is the bookmark that has got the day's schedule and also a QR code to the read-along cards, plus the other books that we're going to be reading as part of this reading marathon. So the read-along starts tomorrow. So today I'm going to go and find some tabs in a minute, and I'm going to tab up for the daily sections. But first of all, I want to just read you the synopsis of this book, because I think that is going to explain why when I read that synopsis, I was like, yes, I need to be on that read-along, please. I want to take part as a participant. I'm not working on this book. This is not my campaign. I am just taking part as a creator because this synopsis sounds incredible. So, for Helen and George, the remote fixer-upper in Cornwall was supposed to be a dream home and a way to leave behind the problems they're both running from. But something about the place feels wrong from day one. And why does Helen have a creeping feeling that she's seen this house before? Her unease only deepens after renovations begin, when the builders find sinister dolls hidden in the walls. As Helen digs into the house's past, she discovers that the previous owner was not only rumoured to be a witch, she was also imprisoned for a brutal triple murder 30 years earlier. When a horrific accident almost ends in tragedy, Helen worries that the house's secrets are to blame, and as events spiral out of control, she discovers George has been lying to her. As the past returns to haunt them, the couple realise that they are in terrible danger, and they can't trust anyone, not even each other. Because Helen hasn't been entirely honest with him either. I mean, how good does that sound? We've got creepy dolls. We've got what I think is going to end up being like a locked room murder mystery. We've got like the past coming involved. And honestly, I read that synopsis and I just immediately said, sign me up. You probably know I write the Friday newsletters. I know what books are going in that newsletter every week. I read all of the synopses when I put them in the newsletter. And at 7 p.m. on Friday, I immediately applied to get on this read-along because this book sounds so good. I am honestly beyond hyped. So by the time you're seeing this vlog, we will have finished the read-along for Let Me In, but we are also running read-alongs for What You Did and Truth, Truth, Lie. So there is time to join in on those two, or you can always head to the website and find the cards and just read this one along with the read along in like your own time. So everything will be linked down below as well. But I'm going to now just tab up my copy and I will see you tomorrow when we are reading day 1. Hello, so today is day one of the Let Me In read along. So we are reading up to page 42 today, which I have tabbed already. I'm going to, hey Bracken, get off me please. I'm going to read today's pages and then I'm going to check back in with you with my thoughts and talk about today's discussion question as well. Today's challenge is to create a reel using one of the tandem sounds. So the one that I'm going to use is this one.
This is your reminder to put down your phone, pick up your book, and just read.
I like that one because it's so simple to make. Like, it's literally just going to be a 10-second clip of me reading a book. So I'm going to possibly make Bracken go somewhere else. Just giving me those puppy dog eyes now. That will do. Okay, so excuse the laundry, but I've got my tripod set up there and you're going to just stay there. You're going to have like the not very exciting view, and I'm going to be filming in my phone over there. And apart from Bracken, I don't have too much rubbish in the background. And it looks like I'm going to be joined by a small dog. Bracken, not helpful. If you don't have a tripod as well, my camera, you're currently just on top of a bookcase. Windowsills work, pile of books work. I will quite often and I will probably do this later on when I'm filming like just some B-roll of me reading the book. You'll just be like vaguely positioned on top of the sofa cushion, so you don't need any fancy equipment to make any of these reels or any of this kind of content. Just do what you got. I have read today's pages of Let Me In and I am hooked. It is so kind of creepy and like I feel like there's so much kind of foreboding. I'm obsessed. The kind of like inklings of mystery already I'm just obsessed with. So Helen and George have moved down to Cornwall. She's got this kind of sense of foreboding that she's seen this house before. This house has been empty since the 80s. I think this is probably set in about 2022 because it's post-COVID, but it feels like it's only just post-COVID. So the houses will have been empty for about 30 years. 40 years? 30, 40 years. A long time. Anyway, so they've started doing some renovations. They've knocked down a wall in the kitchen and they discover a poppet in there. So that is a doll made of cloth and human hair with some nails stuck through it. And that freaks Helen out. She's like, what is this? And that's where we've got up to so far. So I am very, very intrigued and I'm going to be very good and put the book down and not continue reading, but I want to. Today's question: do you think Helen is right and the vase breaking could be an omen, and do you believe in omens? I don't think the vase was, but for me, where I kind of got the real sense of the kind of foreboding and the omens of things going wrong is when they got to the house and when Helen first gets that kind of sense of deja vu of she says there's green wallpaper in that room and they open the door when there is green wallpaper. That's where I first started getting the kind of sense of like foreboding and the omens and things are going to start going wrong. But I really like that. I really enjoy that sense of foreshadowing, that there's kind of going to be this eeriness hanging over everything. So enjoying it so far. So that is today's update on Let Me In. I will be back with you tomorrow when I'm reading the second, well, I was going to say part 2, but it's not. I'll be reading the day 2's pages, which will be from page 43 up to page 75.
This is your reminder to put down your phone, pick up your book, and just read.
Hello, I'm on day 2 of the Let Me In read-along, and I'm currently on page 58. On page 57, there's a quote, "I already knew too much." And the question is, how do you feel about Helen's reveal on page 57? Was it what you expected her to say? No spoilers, reactions only. So I feel like I'm connecting the dots here. So I don't actually remember if I said about this yesterday, but there was a prologue to this book that literally hooked me in. And I feel like the reveal links back to that prologue. I feel like I'm putting two and two together here. I'm making my own little kind of, map of... I need my red tape, basically, my red string to connect things. And I am just so intrigued because Helen doesn't know much about this house, but she feels like she has a link to this house. And George, her husband, doesn't know Helen's history. Now, I have a theory on what Helen's history is, and I'm not going to share that. My thought is that George somehow does know about Helen's history, and he is maybe not being such a good guy with this house. Yeah, I am very, very intrigued. Very intrigued. So today we're reading up to page 75. Like I said, I'm on page 58 at the moment, so I'm just going to continue reading, and I will jump back in when I finish today's pages and give you any additional thoughts.
A few moments later.
Okay, so I have finished today's reading. What I also really like, I'm really loving the setting. So I grew up in Devon. I know Devon pretty well. I know Cornwall pretty well. For the last couple of years, I've done like kind of camper van trips around the coast of Cornwall. So I'm really enjoying the setting and kind of recognising the places that it's mentioning. I'm still so intrigued. I still want to know what's going on. I want to know what the connections are. Yeah, I'm gonna need to be good and not read ahead. Honestly, I could just sit here and binge read and probably finish the book this afternoon, but I'm not gonna do that because I need to get back to work. And also, no, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna read ahead. I'm gonna stop reading now, but this is so good. I am loving it. Hello. So I have read day's 3 pages of Let Me In. So I'm up to page 127. I don't think I like George. So we've read from George's point of view. So George is the husband. And we haven't read, this is the first time we've read from his point of view. There's just, he says a few things, the way he acts sometimes, I'm like, I don't think I like you. So again, I don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but I do have a theory about who George is. He's very dodgy. There's a lot that I don't understand with so far. I don't know what's going on with George. I don't know where the money's gone. There's something with the money that I don't trust. I am still intrigued. I want to know who this person is because from both Helen and George, they've both said how there's like someone watching through their window. And I want to know who that is. Like, what's that about? Because it's really interesting how the village is like quite against them. Because of like the murder that had happened and the history of the house, the village are really like anti the fact that they live there. So I'm intrigued. I'm so intrigued. I'm also interested in what's happening with the builders. Because from George's point of view, when the accident happened, it seemed as if it wasn't necessarily an accident. Maybe I'm stretching there, but I feel like there was something happened. Now that I am connecting these dots, can you see my like brain cogs whirring right now? Yeah, very difficult to stop reading. I am going to be good and stop reading, but very intrigued. So I have read today's pages of Let Me In. I'm up to page 162 and we finally heard from Yana, and I'm liking her point of view. Definitely want to hear more from Yana's story. George, I don't trust George. I still want to know what he's done. Like, it feels like he's keeping too many secrets. Don't trust him. And I don't understand why someone is watching. Like, who is that? Why are they watching the house? Unless, hang on, theory time. Without spoilers, this might be tricky. We know that Yana had a child because that happens in the prologue. We don't know who the father is. And I feel like they're kind of pointing towards one person, which I really hope it isn't, because ew, gross. But I have a theory about the man who owns the pub. Could he be the father? I have nothing to base that on other than he ran the pub in the 80s when Yana's talking. So that is all of my theory. But yeah, I don't really have anything much to say. I am still very, very intrigued. We don't have a discussion question today. We do have a creative challenge to create a book stack, spelling out "let me in." So I'm going to bring you upstairs to my shelves and we're going to go hunting for some books. Hello, so welcome to my bookshelves. You're down on the floor with me. This is going to be very awkwardly angled because my thriller shelves are the bottom two shelves of this bookcase, but we are spelling out "let me in." So we're going to start off. Let's look for an L. I'm going to go with The Last Housewife for L. E, right, I know that I don't have any thrillers beginning with E, so I am not going with a thriller, but I'm going with Evocation, I can't say it, Evocation by S.D. Gibson, which isn't a thriller, but is like a kind of dark academia, so it works. T. Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. That Woman by Helen Monks Tucker. M. I'm going to go with The Maidens. For my other E, again, I don't have any other books beginning with E, so I'm going with Every Time We Say Goodbye by Natalie Jenner. I actually went through all of my shelves earlier, and they are the only two books that I have got on all of my bookshelves, plus the ones in the other rooms, that begin with E, so we are cheating, but I can't do anything about that. So in, I did see I've got Idol, and then N. We're going with Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus. So I'm going to take my stack of books. Oh, I'm doing it backwards. I forgot about actually how you spell things. So we're going to go backwards. So my Let Me In book stack with Let Me In. I'm going to actually take a proper Instagram photo of that now, and I will post that online. And again, through the magic of editing, Alexis is going to put some examples up on screen. She doesn't know she's going to do this, but she is. See you tomorrow. Hello, it's Thursday evening, but I haven't read anything of Let Me In today because today was a catch-up day, which to be honest worked perfectly for me because I was up to date with my reading and my challenges, but tonight I was out. I was at a Lee Bardugo event, so I wasn't going to get any reading done anyway, which is really good because there were no pages to read today. It does mean that I am even more intrigued to continue reading tomorrow. I know a lot of the group have read ahead and quite a few people have already finished the book. I'm going to try my best to be good and stick to the schedule, but so good. Yeah, so I just thought I would pop in just to tell you that I haven't read anything today, and I will see you tomorrow when I have read something. Hello, so today is day 6 weeks of the Let Me In Read Along. I've read today's pages, which is the rest of Jana's story. I think it's really interesting actually, because I feel like with any sort of kind of like criminal case, you always hear the side of the victims, I suppose. So it's really interesting kind of then hearing her view, and the person that I want to try and say this without giving spoilers, the person that did it, I think it's interesting it is that person. I still don't know who it is that's watching. That is the big, like, my big question, and it's a very, very like high chance that I have kind of like got fully focused on a completely random thing, and that the person that's watching has got nothing to do with anything, very likely. But that is where my hyper focus has gone. Yeah, I'm also still very, very intrigued into how Helen and George are connected. We know that there is a connection there, like aside obviously from the fact they're married, but we don't know how, or like if it's coincidence or not. And I don't believe in coincidences, definitely not in thriller books. So I think there is some kind of like subplot there, or something else is happening. However, we really don't have very many pages left to get through. And I feel like there is a lot of unanswered questions, which excites me a lot. I've got a sleeping cat on my lap, and I realise I've left my phone in the kitchen, and that's got the question cards on it, so I don't actually know what today's question is or what today's challenge is, but I will in a minute at some point when Bella leaves my lap. So I'm up to day 7 on the Let Me In Read Along. So up to page 272. I read a teensy bit ahead of where I was meant to, just up until the next like break point, because I can't stop reading middle of a paragraph or like middle of a chapter. It stresses me out. So it was so difficult to stop reading then. I wanted to just continue reading and finish this tonight. Look how much I've got left, like barely anything left, and I want to finish it. But I'm going to be good. I'm gonna put it down and I'm going to finish it tomorrow. Today's discussion question is around Yana. Now we've read Yana's point of view, would you have made the same choice, and how do you feel about her narrative arc? And again, I'm going to do this all without spoilers. I can understand why she made the choice she did. I can understand that she did that thinking that she was helping and that she was doing the right thing. And I don't necessarily think it was the wrong choice, but I also don't think it was the right choice. I do sympathise with her because, like she said, she tried to change her story. She thought she would get some sort of leniency, but she didn't. And she got sentenced to 50 years in prison, which is a hell of a long time. So I feel for her, but I feel like she would probably have made that decision again. But the big like thing that's happened in today's pages, well, I guess there's 2 big things, but there was a crime committed, and then there's been an accident that happened. And the crime is what I also want more information on like what Adam did. Basically, I'm aware that there is, where am I up to again? Page 270. How many pages is this book? I've got 25 pages left. I don't think I can cope with that. I've got far too many questions to be answered in 25 pages. I'm very tempted to finish it tonight, you know. I know that's really bad. I'm gonna try my best to be good and not look at this book. I might need to go and like put it in the freezer, so that I don't think about it, and I will come back to you tomorrow once I finish the book and give you my final thoughts. Gripped. Hello. So today it's day 8 of the read along, and I have just finished reading Let Me In. So there are technically 2 more days. Tomorrow is a catch-up day and day 10 is to post your reviews. So today was the last reading day. Today's question was about a high-pressure situation between 2 of the characters and what would you have done in their situation. Now, I think they did the right thing. So context, one of the builders who was working on this house had got trapped in the boiler room and had got carbon monoxide poisoning. So Helen had to do a tracheotomy where they put something in, open up your throat so that you can breathe, which was the same procedure which she had done in London, which had ended up killing a child because she had cut in the wrong place. So I think she did the right thing. I can understand her reluctance. I can understand her nerves. I can understand, why she kind of didn't want to, or she was scared of it. But I think that, they're like the right thing basically happened. I really liked the end as well, where we have the backdrop of the storm. I just feel like the fallacy of that, like the pathetic fallacy with it, with the storm, the tension, the drama, the fear that a storm brings, I think really, really added to the atmosphere of the story. Yeah, and I think as well with the ending, so I'm just kind of jumping around with my questions a little bit. Day 10's question is about the end. Were you surprised by the ending? How do you feel about the culmination of the story? Again, no spoilers. I liked the ending. It is one of those where the final chapter is from a different perspective. And sometimes I find these can really work. I don't always, particularly with thrillers, I don't always need everything to be tied up happy ever after. But I can see why it was done that way. So I did like the ending. I feel like I kind of predicted who did it and like the twist, but at the same time I'm not mad about that, because I feel like it wasn't necessarily the who or the why or the how. It was the story around it that was really interesting in this one. It was more of almost the societal view of how these things could happen. So we've also got a recommendation challenge on here, which I will create tomorrow and post on my socials tomorrow. But I would recommend Let Me In. I would say if you're fans of Verity, again, because I think like the twists in that I think are fantastic. There is a kind of almost spooky element. So I'd say potentially like if you're a fan of like Riley Sager, you might enjoy this. I actually quite like the witchcraft element because, again, it's not like magical fantasy witchcraft. It's herbalism and herb lore, which I think is really interesting. I enjoyed it. I really liked the kind of eerie, creepy atmosphere, that kind of feeling of someone looking over your shoulder, the miscommunication, not only between George and Helen, but in various other places as well. Overall, really enjoyed this book. I am probably going to be wrapping up this vlog now because, like I said, the last couple of days are a catch-up day tomorrow and I'm like to post a review, so I don't need to do that on this vlog. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I hope that you enjoyed this reading vlog and you've got an idea of what it is like to be part of a read-along. If you would like to join in read-alongs, please do sign up to our newsletter down below. You will get a newsletter every Friday in the UK and on most Fridays if you're elsewhere in the world, which will have all of the information about our upcoming read-alongs in there, which you can sign up to. If you would like more read-along content as well, make sure you follow us on all of the rest of our socials. Give this video a like, subscribe down below, let us know what your favourite read-along that you have been on has been, and we'll see you in the next video.